The problem that we have, our enemy, our enemy is citizens. I know it sounds weird. Citizens are our enemy. Our enemy is citizens are the enemy. American citizens, not the Russians, not anybody else. American citizens are the enemy. I'm going to say this to you repeatedly. I'm going to say it again. I'm going to tell you the people that are going to destroy us, the people after you, are your fellow citizens. Some of them are Democrats, some of them aren't, some of them are a bunch of other stuff. I don't know what you want to call them. That's who it is. Now, you and I can talk about this all day long. We can talk about, I don't know, whatever. I'm telling you, listen to what I'm saying. People here, this is not a civil war. A civil war seeks to be a kind of a disruption, a discontinuation, an untethering of order. The North and the South, Basque insurgents, the Democrats, the left, do not have a political party. They don't have a focus. They are rabble-rousers, malcontents, angry, confused, psychically scattered people who don't really know what they want. They love to be the adversary of the Trump administration and us. Let me say this again. And when you tell people this, they will be too busy with their life to listen to you. Most people do not understand what you're saying. They talk about other things. There are a lot of folks, I'll say, that's good, that's good, that's good. It's like you walking into a restaurant with a legitimate, real Mexican food expert, and they say, that's good, Chipotle, no, Taco Bell, no, that's it, that's legitimate, that's important, that's good, that's real, that's what I do to you. That's not important, that's not important, that's not important. There's a lot of stuff that's out there that's fun to watch, fun to eat. A chalupa may be fun to eat at Taco Bell, but a Mexican was saying, I don't know what the hell it is. I'm telling you the truth. I know exactly what I'm saying. Sometimes people are completely full of shit. Pardon my French, but it's an expression which means something. See, if I say full of shit, you understand what that means. I'm not being needlessly scatological. I'm telling you it's the truth. And you know what I'm saying is the truth. You know what I'm saying because you say, oh, okay. It's like the word bullshit. You know what it means. It's a perfect word. It doesn't mean, So I love the fact that we pretend and feign this hypervigilance as far as words go, but they are some of the most exquisitely perfect means of explicating ideas there ever was. Anyway, Steve Bannon was talking about something which was so absolutely, he'll say something which is so important, so critical, and then I'll see something like, and these are people who are out there, kind of in our group. Candace Owens will say something that's becoming more and more silly and not important. I mean, kind of like she's becoming more People Magazine. People Magazine's great. In the old days, when you would go to a doctor's office and you could say, let me say this, more children. Oh, People Magazine. A lot of pictures. Ooh, this is good. Ooh, that's good. That's kind of what it is. Ooh, that's tasty. It's not important. It's not critical. You're not going to. We're also getting into discussion parts about Israel and the Middle East that we've just hit an impasse. It's the same 5 people, just like Mob. God bless Michael Franzese. How many times is he going to tell you his stories about being in the mafia? How many times? There are no more stories. He's already done it. We're recycling this thing. But God bless him. I'm here to tell you, no, watch this. This is what's important here. This is what's critical. There's something that's happening right here. The Diddy trial, nobody wants to talk about that. They want to talk about other stuff. They don't really understand what it means, the importance of it. They don't really get it. There are other people too who are very, very good. So what I'm trying to tell you is that if you want me to give you sources of information that are good people, I will tell you, but sometimes they're in snippets. sometimes you have to know a little bit of this, a little bit of this. In my class that I would teach, I would say, okay, you're going to have to understand this history, but today's theory is the leadership picked this guy, Hogg, David Hogg. They are not a serious party. They are obstructionists. I'm going to give you this one. Remember, are you using ChatGPT enough? I like that. Sometimes I think it's better than Grok. And Grok is sometimes much better in terms of pictures and graphics. ChatGPT is a little bit too like, well, we don't like that. They're a little lefty, but I want to explain something to you. You know what false flag is, but an agent provocateur, an agent provocateur. This is a person or a group who infiltrates a group, often political protests or activists, and deliberately incites illegal or extreme action to discredit the group or to justify crackdowns. The term comes from French and it translates to the provoking agent. The usual traits of the agent provocateur, agent, is working for the government, law enforcement, or opposing groups. That's number one. Number two, it pretends to be part of the movement or a movement. It encourages violence, sabotage, or lawbreaking. And next, it's used to entrap others. COINTELPRO, labor strikes, modern protest movements. Okay. Why do I say this? There is a story that is so critical, that is going on where the Democrats, I'm doing a lot of air quotes, the Democrats are going after ICE agents, okay? They're going after ICE agents. DHS said a Worcester. The word is spelled Worcester. It's pronounced either Worcester or Worcester. It's like Edinburgh. It's weird. All right. We had people in Tampa years ago. One guy's name was Tolliver, but the name was Taliaferro. And I don't know how they got that. I digress. So DHS, they said that there was a council member incited chaos when ICE moved in. There was a district councilor for the city pulled a political stunt and incited chaos by obstructing law enforcement, and they're becoming more and more violent. Okay? Okay. Listen to me carefully. And this is where most people are not going to be listening because most people are not paying attention and they don't. They don't. That's me. I hope you saw, by the way, did you changing the subject? Did you see the Eric Thaddeus Walters piece yesterday? Oh my God. One of the best. Okay. One of the best. In any event. So these people are basically going in and they're inciting riots, not necessarily because they're a part of the other side, not necessarily because they're trying to create some type of a negative countervailing force. What they are doing is they are acting in a way that is so important and so critical. They're just throwing a monkey wrench into the works. They're just enjoying, they're not promoting anything. So let me go back. Let me recap this. These are American citizens, might in a titular theoretical way be considered Democrats, but that's not what they want to do. They want to disrupt and to destroy this iteration of government, not to replace it with anything. That would be almost like a civil war. Civil war is, the Confederate States of America wanted to use their, no, that's not what we're talking about here. This defies what is happening. Let me say this again. when you tell people this, they'll kind of look at you and they'll say, uh-huh. And you'll have to say, do you not know what I just said? No. Do you know why this is important? No, not really. Okay, well then let me try it again. But first, this. Are you drowning in debt? Struggling with credit cards or medical bills or personal loans? Well, you're not alone. There's help, real help available right now. National Debt Relief is one of the top-rated debt relief companies in America, helping thousands of individuals like you break free from overwhelming financial burdens. For anyone owing over $10,000, National Debt Relief may be able to reduce that debt by up to half or even more. No bankruptcy, no new loans, just a smarter, faster way to financial freedom. Here's how it works. Step 1, you submit the form at No Debt with Lionel. Just go there right now. Step 2, a representative will call within minutes to discuss personalized options. And step 3, they'll create an affordable plan tailored to your individual budget and timeline. Many clients become debt-free in as little as 24 to 48 months, paying less than they owe and avoiding years of stress and interest. And the consultation is completely free with no obligation. So what are you waiting for? Why keep dodging calls and watching interest stack up? So go right now to NoDebtWithLionel.com. That's NoDebtWithLionel.com. This could be the turning point, the step toward peace of mind, control, and a fresh start. NoDebtWithLionel.com. Go now. I want to see something. By the way, if you ever want to reach me, Lionel at LionelMedia.com. So let me try this again. And I'm not speaking like this to you. I'm saying this is what you're going to see. You see, the biggest problem you have is twofold. Number one, the rules don't apply to what we're trying to accomplish. It doesn't apply. The enemy is not Democrats per se. The enemy is not the Democrats. Isn't that wonderful how you take plural and singular nouns and mix them in a sentence? The Beatles is a group. What? Anywho, we're seeing something which is something like I've never seen before. Something which really does not lend itself to the usual stuff. You see, most people have a hard time with this because of the fact that and this is important, the people, the folks who are kind of paying attention to this don't understand what we're saying. Okay, next, I want to explain something called realism. And we've heard it in terms of the Mearsheimer context and that sort of thing, and that's great. But that's not what I'm talking. Raoul says, people scream Trump's fault by default. People, they also attribute this to Saul Alinsky. They will claim, Raoul, that Trump is doing what they're doing. Let me give you something which is very interesting. I'm going to say something, and you might, because it's just an observation. Sometimes my observations may or may not necessarily be critical. They may not be earth-shattering, but I think they are important. There are two people who need to work on their speech drastically. Now, I think I told you this. And over the weekend on my WABC show, I talked about how there was a term that I referenced to people who stutter. And stuttering, I talked about handicaps and all kinds of things like that. Speech is a very critical thing. New paragraph, new chapter. There is a fellow that for some reason or another, somebody, I guess the people on Fox News have said, he's going to be our guy. Lawrence Jones. Lawrence Jones is an African-American young man. I think he's replacing or Steve Ducey. He mispronounces words at levels that I can't even make it's not even, you're setting this young man up. He needs speech pronunciation. His speech is, it's just regionalism. And now let's go to the Secretary, United States of, he just mispronounces words. If he says axe, it's over. Now I can go into the people of Fox News and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? If I didn't know better, you're saying, okay, we'll put a black guy in here, but we're not going to get somebody who speaks like Sidney Poitier. We're going to get this guy because we secretly don't want a black guy in there. We want to put a black guy in and say, see? Now, if you say, oh, you're picking on the black guy. No. Number two, Tom Homan. Tom Homan's a good man. Tom Homan, I don't understand what he's saying. He speaks with a garbled something or other. It gets in the way. This is realism. Realism says, I don't know what my realism. I don't know why this is so. I don't understand why. Certain rules are certain things. If a person is a blues singer and says, thank you so much. Tonight we're going to play the music of Leadbelly. You would say, wait a minute, hold it. This isn't blues. Why? Because there are rules. There are rules that we have. There was something years ago called the mid-Atlantic accent. And a lot of people I've talked to, surprisingly, have never heard of it. I heard of this years ago. I heard of this growing up and watching Arlene Francis and on my private channel at lionelmedia.com. lionelmedia.com. I went through a more thorough explanation of this because I find it to be something interesting. By the way, on July 19th at the Cutting Room, I will be there. Information and ticket sales at lionelmedia.com. You can also go to my Twitter account and all that stuff. There was a thing years ago called the mid-Atlantic accent. And I remember, this is chapter 2, different topic. Chapter 2. Some people have a very difficult time saying, how do I handle so many things he's saying? Get used to it. Get used to it. There was something in the old days called the mid-Atlantic accent. And the mid-Atlantic accent was very, very interesting. It's a fascinating. It was deliberately used as a form of, it was a learned form of speech which had no rhoticity. It spoke in a way that was reminiscent of British speech. It was known as the transatlantic accent. It was a cultivated, deliberate hybrid of speaking styles that blended American and British pronunciation. It was never naturally occurring. It was manufactured, deliberately taught, especially in elite American prep schools and acting studios in the early 20th century. People like Katharine Hepburn, George Plimpton, William F. Buckley. William F. Buckley never lived in England. I mean, he's been there, but he never. That was all the Canadian, what they call this, Larchmont lockjaw. It's called dentiloquism, when you talk like Ann Coulter. Where's Ann Coulter? You notice how she's like not really there. Isn't that interesting? I'm more aware of who's not in the room than who is in the room. Tells you something about me. I'm more aware of what's missing than what's there. Radio broadcasters used it. There was no rhoticity, the R at the end of the words. Father, crisp pronunciation, British style vowels. There was kind of an aloof tone. And Arlene Francis, Kitty Carlisle, all these people, they're talking to Jonathan. Remember this fellow Daly from What's My Line? Thank you, darling. You can also hear Orson Welles go in and out of this. Now, why do I say this? Language and style are synonymous. They are critical. And just like when you have Jasmine Crockett come out, deliberately hitting you with, and I think it's incorrectly called ghetto, but they called it an AAV, African American verbal I forget what the hell the word is, African American verbal English or something, a version of English. It spoke to something kind of like that. So what I'm going to tell you is that I'm watching this, and in no particular point, if I did not know better, either A, you're setting this young Mr. Jones, you're setting him up. Number two, you don't know the difference. You don't recognize, which is even worse. Number three, we are becoming less and less connected to languification, languicization. You can make a better word you want. That's that. Okay. Next chapter. Let me reiterate the first one. Sometimes I like to remind people of what we're doing here. My enemy today, listen to me. My enemy is not a foreign country. It's not Putin. It's not Zelensky. It's not Hezbollah, Israel, Hamas, the Houthis. No. It's not the Democrat. They might be called Democrats. It is a form of unconsciously radicalized American interloper that is destroying everything. Next, there is a show on Netflix, which I highly commend to you. Despite the fact that it is, it's with De Niro. It's pretty good. Interestingly enough, it's called 0 Day. And 0 Day, I want you to watch this. And I want you to watch it not because it's De Niro, because De Niro's an idiot and everything. I know that. But it's called 0 Day. And 0 Day refers to, I'm sure as you know, a glitch or some type of some kind of a mistake, something that exists in programming that allows people to come and basically take advantage of this glitch, if that makes any sense. It's this strange, how do I say this? It's this error that takes place. Now, 0 Day. De Niro plays a guy, and it's really good, that involves, interestingly enough, it involves the implementation of what amounts to torture. Really serious torture. You will love its depiction of this fellow who is a kind of a podcaster. Edie Crowley says, educated blacks are often shunned by their own for being uppity. Is that true as much today as it was then? I don't know. I mean, I've heard that. I've heard that within the black community, people who are darker skinned are themselves subject to discrimination than lighter. I don't know. I heard this. I don't know. But it doesn't surprise me, because any excuse there is to hate. But there is no one who can ever speak so incomprehensibly garbled that will ever be excluded as being, I'm sorry, that you're too difficult to understand. You will never see that. You will never see anybody anywhere. Remember, this is new. Jasmine Crockett is kind of, Maxine Waters does not speak like that. Does not speak like that. I've not heard anybody from the squad. Ayanna Presley, in particular, very articulate. Rashida Tlaib, she's not black, but she's very articulate. Ilhan Omar speaks with an accent, but she's very articulate. AOC will go into phrases, but it's not inarticulate. Jasmine Crockett is saying, oh, no, I'm going to use a particular patois, a particular vernacular, a particular stylized way of speaking that is urban. People use that word ghetto in it, and you gotta be careful. But that's where the street, if you will, different kind of a story. But it's a part of this group. But it's not so much the speech. It's somebody saying, Edie says, I have an inside perspective on it. Okay, I'm sure you do. Now, what's important, and thank you, by the way, what's important to understand, let me go back to what I'm saying. Our enemy is not, and we can argue about the voice. Is it Democrat? Is it black Democrats? Is it the hood? Don't become too fixated on that. That's a side issue. The point is, it is us against them. Do you know why I believe in the Second Amendment? Not because of our rogue government, but because of fellow students, our fellow citizens. Christian says the new pope is from Dalton. Well, please. Oh, Tiffany Henyard, number one. Fannie Willis, no, she'll do that. No. Let me see this. Pope Leo bio. Let's see. Pope Leo, the new bio Pope Leo. He was born in Chicago. I don't know if Dalton was a joke. I can't tell sometimes. Sometimes the humor is so cryptic. But please watch our interview with Eric Thaddeus Walters yesterday, because the Pope is giving you a signal, all is well, which is the most fascinating. Okay, moving along. Two things that are happening. Number one, enemy from the outside, ICE. You're seeing more and more. They went after domestic terrorists. They went after Tesla. They stopped that. You notice Elon Musk off the grid completely. You understand this? This is the most important. Okay? Now, here is something which is really, really important, really interesting and fascinating, I think, for people to understand. What I'm the most interested in now is there is something that is happening regarding surveillance that Americans do not understand at all and don't seem to care about for reasons I do not understand. I do not understand this. And maybe I can explain it. Maybe I can put this into perspective, but I'm going to do the best that I can to try to kind of put things into perspective here. There is something which is the most important thing I can... how do I say this? I'm trying my best to see if I can put this into perspective. We love to say, especially those in our group, we love to talk about surveillance. And we love to talk about how people love to say, oh, I love Ayn Rand. No, you don't. People have such a nominal conversance with Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand doesn't mean anything to them. Something about objectivism, and they sort of, why am I wanting? They don't know anything about Ayn Rand. Ayn Rand is just, it's something they say they like, it's something but they don't know anything about Ayn Rand. Nothing. Same thing about, we used to talk about 1984, Eric Blair. We used to talk about, this notion of dystopian societies and Big Brother. Not anymore. We have no idea. None. We have no... We pay lip service. We pay lip service to American flags and lapel pins. We talk about 1776. It used to be the Gadsden flag. There was this kind of like this revolutionary. You don't see that too much anymore. I think January 6th kind of did this. But There's a new group of people out there. Two things are happening. Number one, surveillance. The biggest sellout, the biggest con, and the biggest freak, and the biggest danger to this country and this man right here, Mr. Trump, is Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg comes across like, hey, I'm just a nerd. Hey, I'm letting my hair grow out. I got curly hair. I got my hair growing out. I'm one of you. I'm a cool guy. I'm one of you. I'm not, don't think of me. Oh, no. I'm a cool guy. I'm a cool guy. I'm a regular guy. I'm one of yours. No, you're not. Oh, no, yes, I am. I'm a cool guy. No, you're not. No, you're not. No, you're not. There is something right now which is so scary, and this is regarding Google, not Google. We used to have Google glasses, but it's this new AI glass. They're teaming with Ray-Ban. I don't know if you're seeing this, but it is the most important, it is the most critical thing in the world. And I want you to be aware of this. This is one of the scariest things. Meta's Ray-Ban smart glasses. It's ignited significant privacy and ethical debates. Nobody's going to be saying anything about this. It was designed supposedly to resemble, conventional sunglasses, but they have discrete recording capabilities. And many people are raising concerns now about unauthorized surveillance and the like. Now, there's a small white little LED indicating recording, but its visibility, especially in low light, is questionable. You can't see it. And so they have the glasses have multiple microphones to capture audio. And if you think, remember in the old days when you would hear about how the FBI would wire somebody with a Niagara recorder and all this kind of jazz? Well, let me tell you something. That is nothing compared to what we're seeing right now. Nothing. The idea of having a wire, there are ways of, little buttonholes, the surveillance today, forget it. You could pat people down all you want. The old days, remember during the Sopranos, hey, Paulie and Pussy, they went for a schwitz, and did he wear, is he wearing a wire? And these old, that's then. But what's happening right now is a different story. It's completely, and here's what's happening. Most Americans don't care at all about this. Again, they have no idea what you're saying. They were born in captivity, or they feel like either maybe this isn't an exciting subject, or I don't know what, it's not. Because Americans, let me explain something to you. There are certain people on YouTube who do very, very well, and I'm sorry to say this, not in this country, who talk about levels of understanding. There is a fellow, by the way, if you want to talk about Middle East, okay, let's say Israel and Gaza, or Israel and Palestine. Yeah, one of two choices. Do you want to hear Elon Papa or Papa and talk about him? Do you want to hear Middle Eastern perspectives? Do you want to hear about Christian Zionism and the role of eschatology? No. Well, a lot of, dare I say, European people do, because they understand what this means. They have a different perspective because their countries are thousands of years old, and they understand the notion of historical provenance, and they get it. Americans don't understand it. They want to hear instead Dave Smith, who is the intellectual firebrand, the intellectual, whatever you want to call it, on or in the world of Israel, or junk yogurt, or Shmuley Botiach, or somebody to yell and scream. Somebody to yell. That's what they want. They don't want, that's where you go. So let me go back. If the subject is Middle East, Israel, Hamas, and Palestine, you can go one particular way. Thank God, at least, irrespective of what you think, thank God, there are people who are like Judge Napolitano and Mearsheimer and others, but they're not still as big as Piers Morgan, because they want screaming. They want lowbrow. Do you know what I'm saying? Let me switch it around. The Epstein case. The Epstein case, I'm telling you, is not about women, trafficking, black books, flight logs. That's not what it's about. That is a limited hangout. You can hear the snoring. Most people say, "Ooh, pray tell, what is it about?" They're not interested in it. Because what I want to tell you what it's interested about is kind of dry to those who don't know any better. It's dry. The Diddy trial. Have you heard people talk about the Diddy trial? Have you heard that one? I don't know what they're talking about. It's like they've never been to a trial before. And they're picking a jury. There's this thing called a jury. And they're asking the jurors questions. It's called voir dire or voir dire if you're from the South. And Diddy's in the cell with her near SBF. But what are the charges of Diddy? I don't know. New chapter, new issue. I've seen this thing of Cassie Ventura. You see this where Diddy's beating the hell out of him in this time. If I represented Diddy, I'd say, play it again. Play it again. Okay, play it again. Now, here's a question. What does this have to do with human trafficking? Nothing. Play it again. I got a video of him drunk at a Christmas party, speeding, writing a bad check. What does this have to do with anything? They're so interested in getting a conviction against this guy. This is what I would say. They're showing you stuff that has nothing to do with this. What is Cassie Ventura saying? She was trafficked? What are we saying here? What does this trafficking mean? Beating people up? Do you look at him? Does he look like he's trafficking people? Hell, he had people out the door waiting to get in. I would talk about this in a way, but nobody wants to hear this because they want to hear, no, I want you to talk about Diddy in a way where it's salacious, talk about him being guilty, but don't ever give the side of how these charges are overcharged. I'm a realist. Diddy's a punk. He's a punk and a thug. And if you took Diddy, Jay-Z, Diddy, Fiddy, Titty, Biddy, Giggy, throw them all together, got rid of the whole bunch, society would be better off. For these monosyllabic cretins who are walking around destroying young people with this fake, horrible, monstrous, mechanized music that I detest. But you know what? It's a free country and I'm not in charge of that. But if I told you about Diddy, for example, nobody wants to hear what I have to say because this is contrary to what people are saying. I don't particularly care for Eric Adams, the mayor of New York. But what they were charging him was ridiculous. And there's something there. There's something more than just, upgrades and all this stuff. The Turkish this and that. But it's like there's not enough there. Now, if there is something there, go after him. What I'm trying to tell you, dear friends, is this. Do you want to hear what's going on? Or do you want me to play you the hits? You want me to play you the hits? You want me to play you the hits? When you look at David Hogg, what do you tell? Well, first of all, people don't like him. He was that gun thing. He's a weird. They look at the way he is and what he says. I don't care anything about that. What do you think he's all about? Tell me what you think he's about. What is he about? What is he about? What is it? Good luck with this. People will say, I don't know what you mean. Tell me what the significance of him is. Why is he an important part? Why is 2028 a good? How do you view this politically? Most people do not understand the politics of it. They know kind of the story. They know he's a doofus or he's a weirdo, but they don't really know enough about the big story involving what's really going on in the background. That's the part which I find fascinating. What's the background story? Okay? So recapping, we started off with this. I'm trying to think of, if I had to name the title of a book, my book would be either They Don't Get It, or They're Missing the Point, or That's Not the Issue. Do you recognize how important it is? President Trump, new chapter, new subject. This is like a Brecht movie or play. Do you know the issue of Trump working on a deal with China? Are you? You understand it? No. Anybody talking about China? No. You know how big this is? Huge. You know Trump's right? You know what he's doing is right. What he's doing is absolutely, positively, 100% game-changing. And it will all be undone immediately the first moment a Democrat comes in there. Because Trump doesn't have to worry about China blackmailing him with his son's laptop. Raul says Hogg serves as a weather vane for the Dems. A little bit. I think so, yeah. But he's just, he's this is a vice chair of the DNC. Now, I don't know who the vice chair of the RNC. I don't know what they are, because I really don't. The Republican Party does nothing for me. I'm not a big fan. I will vote Republican probably, because the Democratic Party is not. There is no Democratic Party. It's like Camden used to look like. It was once beautiful, and then it turned into this. I don't know. Camden, New Jersey. I don't even know how it is now. But there was a time when it was really bad. I mean, they canceled the police department. It was horrible. But it was once beautiful. The Democratic Party was once beautiful. It's not like this anymore. But you understand something. Most people that you meet, they have no idea. Politically, they just kind of comment on stuff. And they're okay, They don't really understand it. It's kind of complicated, but very simple at the same time, if you will. They'll worry about things like Epstein has thrown everybody off. Everybody, because it involves the allegations. They really don't understand it. They don't get it. They don't really understand. And they don't want to hear you say, no, that's not it. Because people are weird. Let me give you an example of something. And I'm going to show you right now how it works. I'm going to give you an example, and your reaction will prove that I'm right. There was something a while back which was so, and I gave you this as an example, so incredible. It absolutely blew my mind in terms of how it changed people's lives. And when you mentioned it to people, they would miss the point and focus on the wrong point. Okay? Let me give you what it's called. There was something developed. It was called an FMT. Okay, nobody's paying attention, right? Okay, because you don't know what that means. Let me explain to you. It's called FMT is a fecal microbiota transplantation. People say fecal because as soon as you mention anything poop or feces related, the 6-year-old say, "What was that? What was that? Oh, I understand. Is he talking about poop?" Not even interested at all. It's like, I know what I'm talking about. Low-hanging fruit. This is the perfect example. It's also called a fecal transplant. I've told you this before. It's a medical procedure where stool is from a healthy donor, is transferred, basically transplant, into the gut of a patient to restore a balanced, healthy microbiome. It saves like C. diff. It's incredible. It's used for C. diff infections, which is this horrible, aggressive, antibiotic-resistant gut infection that can, just cause absolute horrible diarrhea, colitis, even death. But we hear, diarrhea? Ding, 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 ding. Why? Because poop, diarrhea? Oh, because that's these are adults doing this because it never left them. So when antibiotics fail, FMT can kind of reintroduce healthy bacteria to fight against harmful. And you can give it in a colonoscopy. You can give it in a nasal gastric tube, an enema, oral capsules. They're called poop pills, are real. There's risks to it, but the benefits, high rate of success for C. diff. And by the way, it may sound like this is kind of fringe or crazy therapy. It went back to the 4th century China, where it was called yellow soup. Oh, immediately people go, and it's one of the most important things in the world. Okay, fine. Now, why do I bring this up? I bring this up because when you bring this to people's attention, and I know it to be true, they will not hear saving lives, medical breakthrough, genius, balance. They'll talk about seed oils. They're experts in seed oils. Oh my God, seed oils. They are going crazy with seed oils. They swear they know about seed oils, and they know about, eating a keto diet. This fasting is never, that's an important thing. Intermittent fasting. They don't want to fast. Not that, because you got to get hungry. But they're selective in what because nutrition they love to talk about. Not actually do, but talk about. Anyway. So they love all this other kind of stuff. C. diff, soy boy, you're a soy boy. What does that mean? I don't know. Vegetarian? I don't know. But they don't really understand. But they love quick bumper sticker labels. But when you bring this up to people's mind, it's the most incredible thing in the world. It's absolutely, it saves people's life. But they can't get past it. Because there's this focus and there's this prism on poop. New York Post has something, or Compost, New York Compost. They have this thing where they say, the other day, the 5 signs of anal cancer. My friend who is a radiologist told me about how somebody had put off colonoscopies for a while, and they found a very aggressive anal cancer. Not colon cancer, anal. And they don't know rectal, anal, they have no idea. And if you think this is good, anatomy, how many women still refer to anything related to the pudenda as vagina? They still do this. They have no idea. Women, their own bodies, they have no idea. Okay. Why do I say this? I'll tell you. There are people in the world who are able to understand the complex and crave it. The complex, the multi-layered, the deep, the arcane. But most people do not. Most people. The other day, one of the biggest stories, Newark Airport, air traffic controllers were being shut down 30, 40, 90 seconds. You know what that is? Any follow-up on that? No. Any follow-up on the drones? No. Any follow-up? No. No. We live in a world, remember, your audience is a 10-year-old. If you want to be very successful, you want to do a podcast, remember, 10-year-olds. Very simple. Oh, you might have a interesting topic, but that's not going to work. 10-year-old. Simple. Attention span of a gnat, limited grasp, but really low hanging fruit. Very basic. And if there's anything that would make a 10-year-old laugh, or ooh, if it's sex, race, or bodily functions, something very simple, they're all over. As I was mentioning before, there was a story about anal cancer. So what do? New York Post. They'll have these stock pictures of some woman, her face is obscured, and she's sitting apparently on a toilet with her, she's eliminating something. And that was the focus. Almost weirdly, almost sexual. Why? Because that's who we are. We are morons. Now, of the morons, take that group, take the morons of the group, and pull out the dangerous morons. And that's the agent provocateur, or this critical part of the the Democratic Party that is critical. Okay. Let me give you the file. I mentioned to you 0 Day. 0 Day talks about torture. 0 Day talks about some very serious things. And De Niro is De Niro. He must be hurting for money because this is a series and he's kind of lazy and he doesn't want to go through this. And anyway, but it's kind of interesting. 0 Day, it's so similar to others, but here is the bottom line. How far do you want to go to stop the incursion, the attack on our country? How far do you want to go? Listen to me. There is a group of people that you have to give them the January 6th treatment. You have to put them away and throw them away and make them feel the sting and the horror and the danger and the anger and the sting of what we went through with January 6th. Are you listening? Are you listening to what I'm saying? Listen carefully. I would go into the White House. I would ask Kash Patel and everybody else. By the way, you notice how Don Bongino, he's nowhere to be found. He's just kind of there. And Carrie Lake, nowhere to be found. Ann Coulter, nowhere to. She went the way of like Michelle Malkin. They just come and they go. And Elon Musk, not here anymore. What happened? Where'd Daddy go? Well, Daddy had to go. What? Where is he? They just come and they go. So whoever's hanging around, I'm going to say this. If you are not really ready to go to the wall to save your country, then leave right now. We are under attack by people in this country. I want to show them that little bit they did by taking good American citizens, throwing them into the basement of a gulag in D.C., that's nothing. I've got better stuff for you. I have an emergency order right now that we've signed that's going to reintroduce, you know those FEMA camps? They're real. They're real. And anybody who dares to go after and attack a federal agent who is trying to enforce immigration laws and is trying to stop and to arrest an individual who is hurting this country, anybody who does that, we're going to show you, we're going to break it off in you. Like one judge I used to appear before said, we're going to show you levels of, you're just not going to believe this. We're going to have our version of, by the way, remember the FISA courts? We're doing that. FEMA camp, we're doing it. Enemy combatant, we're doing that. The Patriot Act, we're doing that. Everything that you thought was over, we're doing that. So you're going to see somebody named Altavice Johnson. She might be a black or white, a city councilwoman from East McKeesport who punched an ICE officer or gave information away to, let's say, the next Omar or Kilmore, whatever his name is, or Harvard or whatever. We're going to take, that's patient zero. They will be the Jose Padilla. Remember who was Jose Padilla? Well, he was the first guy. He was an American citizen born, I think, in the Bronx. He was arrested at the baggage carousel at O'Hare Airport, and they got him under the enemy combatant. They used his case Xrel Quirin, Q-U-I-R-N. It was not really an obscure, but it was a Supreme Court case that basically they killed this guy. I mean, he's alive. I think he's alive. He went blind, crazy. They just said, he's our test case. So in this case, Altavice, who I think was Sammy Davis Jr.'s wife, Altavice Johnson is going to be our Jose Padilla. And I want people to say, holy shit. And I will introduce my own protest to let people know how horrible President Trump is. Let me say this again. You missed what I said. in working, remember, because I'm not a part of the administration. Nobody knows my name. I don't go to the White House. I'm just, in my perfect world, I'm an advisor. And I'm not a member of any group or agency, but I'm going to go and I'm going to make this person, I'm going to protest. I'm going to scare the shit out of people. I'm going to say, Altavice Johnson, what happened to her? Do you know what they did to her? Don't be the next Altavice Johnson. And I'll say, you're the one. Tag, you're it. Jose Padilla, he was it. Everybody's got, you're it. I'm going to show you. You want to be, you want to die for your cause? Okay. It's not going to be a death penalty, but I will destroy you emotionally. I'll destroy your future. You're going to be my example. Remember, you wanted this. You wanted to be, this is Jack Reacher. You wanted to be this person who, was a big badass. Okay. Prepare to give it all up. And I'm going to break it off in you. I'm going to show you, remember, there are federal statutes out there that can be interpreted to do things you've never even thought were possible. Do you hear what I'm saying? Do you hear what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Do you know what I'm saying, as the kids say? Let me tell you something. Listen to me. It's not the foreign, it's not Putin, it's not Netanyahu, it's not Abu Mazen, it's not any of those people. The people that are my threat, they live in my country. They seem like they might be called Democrats or not Democrats. I don't know who they are. I don't know what's behind them. I'll let them figure that out. They have to be taught a lesson. Take off the gloves. It's time to go. Watch this 0 day. Watch this. This is important. Watch this 0 day. And watch how they reintroduce the notion of torture. Now, I'm not talking about torturing people. Unless it proves to be necessary. Now, listen. I realize that right now, what I'm doing is a complete and total waste of time. With all due respect, I'm just pissing in the wind, barking up a tree. I recognize, present company excluded, most people have no idea what I'm saying. No clue. It's just not, I don't care. I am a realist. I say what has to be done. I tell you what the truth is. I don't care whether you find it interesting. I don't care whether you agree. I don't care any of that stuff. I'm telling you because I'm right. And I'm always right. Now, this may come as a shock. This may sound rather haughty. I'm telling you, I know it. And my biggest problem is I fight numbers. I fight the usual. I fight people who want to talk about stuff. And it's a free country. And I don't want to change any of that. I believe in a free market. I believe in a laissez-faire kind of, thing where if that's what people want, that's what people want. I don't care. I don't know. But I'm telling you, and I'm telling you right now, believe me when I say this to you. I am dead serious. The enemy that we have is here. And they're not Democrats. There's something else. Do you think David Hogg is a Democrat? Does he stand for, tell me what he stands for. He wants to stop. He's like a dam. He wants to stop the flow of water. He wants to stop. He's a breaker. He stops things. He interrupts things. That's the enemy. They don't stand for anything. He's not saying, I believe in low-income housing. There are a lot of Democrats who really have a thing to say. So you think about that, my friends. You think about that very, 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 very carefully. I can't say it enough. So Mr. Rodriguez, Mr. Janice, Edie Crowley, thank you so much. Follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Follow me also at Lionel Legal. Make sure you are guaranteed subscribed to Lionel Nation. And let me tell you something. Last final words. When you tell people what I am saying, do not expect people to run to you and say, hey, this is great. Expect 90% of the people to not understand what you're saying. Because they don't want that. They don't really, they can't follow it. And we have, it's kind of like, it's the USA Today of America. USA Today is the newspaper for people who don't like newspapers. People, I mean, this is what you got at the hotel, that's what people thought. There was a guy I used to know, and it was a program director who actually thought USA Today was deep. No, This is below USA Today. This what most people want is the stuff that used to be when you would go to a diner and they would give your kids a kind of like a placemat with crayons. Like, here's the stage. That's what they want. Very simple, low-hanging fruit, poop jokes, sex, and race. That's what they want. We're not going to give them that. We're not. If they want to do that, then go elsewhere. All right, my friends, have a great and glorious day. Don't forget these final words. The monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue you. Dad.